How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Foo Show. I'm your host, Coach Ali Fusho. In today's episode number 28, we will be talking about the 3 most common fitness questions that I've gotten from female clients, female friends, or like any girl that passes by to ask a fitness question. We will be talking about those 3 most common questions, except for the most common question, which I've talked about in the podcast before, which is, I'll just go run by it right now. Of course, the most common question that I've gotten in the past from female clients would be, Coach, should I train despite me being on my period? The straightforward answer that I've gotten from female lifters, female coaches that have shared their information on me, to me, is that it really does depend. Some women can lift throughout their period week. Some women need a day off or 2. So there's no black and white answer. It all depends on the individual. I'm pretty sure you being a lifter, whether that be male or female, you've experienced or you've witnessed different people react or respond differently. So that's the simplest way, or that's the quickest way I can answer that, is that it really does depend on the individual if they can train throughout their period week. So that's not part of the 3 most common questions because that one has been asked and already answered in the past. So the 3 questions that I wanted to address today would be, these are questions that I've received multiple times, and I've received these questions again literally just within this past week. So that's why I thought, hey, for the next episode, since Women's Month did just conclude, it's already the first week of April, so I guess it's, somewhat timely. It's a bit late, but I guess it is somewhat timely for me to do an episode on all for women, because of course this is not going to affect men so much, I believe. But anyway, the 3 questions that I commonly or frequently receive would be as follows. First one is, Coach, I'm not losing any weight. Does that mean that I should stop lifting weights because that's going to make me build muscle? So again, the first question is, I'm not losing any weight. Does that mean I should stop lifting weights, stop doing strength training so that they don't gain any muscle, hence gain weight? That's question number 1. Question number 2 is, Coach, is it possible for me to maintain the fat that I've maintained on my boobs, but at the same time lose the fat that I built up on my stomach? So this person wants to know because of course, men and women know this already. If women gain weight, they also gain some, breast size. So of course they would like that for themselves, but at the same time that their breasts get bigger, their stomach gets bigger as well. So what they would want is, or they would want to ask, is if it's possible to maintain that breast size but also lessen your stomach size, or to, in other words, flatten the stomach. That's question number 2. Question number 3 is, Coach, how can I get that sexy hourglass figure, or the whatever figure you'd want, the upside down triangle figure, the upside down pizza, or the pizza slice figure, or the reverse Dorito chip, basically to get that tapered physique. But I think the best one would be how to get that hourglass figure. Now, we will be talking about those 3 questions, but before that, I do want to mention that just recently, and again, I want to say it straightforward, this is not paid, this is not sponsored, it's only been 2 weeks, I just really believe in the product that Whale Co. has recently released. This is their Wake pre-workout. This has been in the making for so long, and at first, I was really wondering, they're making one. Shouldn't they just stick to protein because that's what they're good at? But they really took the time to perfect this product, perfect it in the sense for beginners, because it's not an intense pre-workout. It only has 150 milligrams of caffeine, which is great for 90% of lifters already. And some other hardcore lifters might want 200 to 300 milligrams of caffeine. I personally think that 95% of gym goers should, if they're considering to get a pre-workout, they should get a very modest serving, which is what Wake does provide. So aside from it being the perfect pre-workout or like the perfect canteen content, canteen caffeine content per serving, which is really good. I believe that they taste really, really great. I was blown away. Again, I'm gonna praise the hell out of Whale right now. This is not sponsored. This is not paid. Despite me having their stickers and the cap, they just have great marketing. So I'm just going to really say that again. This is not paid, but these taste delicious. So they come in two flavors: the Whale Ocean Raz and the Wake Ocean Raz, and the other flavor is Island Iced Tea. The iced tea tastes exactly like how good iced tea should taste. Delicious. Feels like an afternoon, like a sunny afternoon, and you're like a kid that just came from the playground, and then your mom would prepare a pitcher of iced tea for you. That's exactly how it tastes each time. Really fantastic. But this is my favorite one, the Ocean Raz. It's a good wake up sip. Like, it really makes you be like, okay, it's time to work out. But it doesn't really give you the jitters and the crash. Oh, that's the main thing. I love it that it doesn't have a crash, and it doesn't negatively affect my sleeping schedule. So right now, it's evening already as I'm recording this. I just worked out prior, and I'm 100% sure that I will be able to fall asleep easily. Unlike other pre-workouts that I've had in the past, if I take it after 1 p.m., I'm really going to be up until like midnight or past midnight, just because I couldn't fall asleep, because the amount of caffeine was just too much for me. So that's precisely why for honestly speaking, I don't think I'm ever going to consider another pre-workout until like there's a better one. And another reason why I love Whale's Wake pre-workout line is because it's so affordable compared to others. This comes in 45 servings at 1,499 pesos. Other brands, other companies would price theirs well over 2,000 pesos for less. So like, again, it's more expensive and it's less servings. Sure, each serving might have a bit more caffeine, but again, that's not something I would want for my workouts, and I don't recommend that for a lot of people. So there are just so many reasons why I do recommend Wake. I don't know how many minutes I spent talking about them, but that's just how much I believed in it, even like free marketing for them. To anyone who's watching this, I really, really hope you guys can consider that. And no, I don't have a discount code for for you guys. Unfortunately, I don't have one. That's just more proof that I'm not sponsored by them. All right, so yeah, we're done talking about Wake. Let's talk about the main reason for this episode. Would be the 3 most common fitness questions that I'd get from women, and obviously it's now for women. All right, the first one is, Coach, I'm not losing any weight. Should I stop lifting weights? Straight up, the answer is no. Do not stop lifting weights. But of course, let's analyze the question. The first half is that, Coach, I'm not losing any weight. Obviously, that person's goal would be fat loss. Now, the reason why the question of stopping lifting weights, stopping strength training even comes up is because obviously as a novice, man or woman, starts lifting weights, they will fortunately build muscle, which is a great thing. Now, if you are not losing weight and if you're potentially gaining weight at your very initial phase of your training, that's probably because you are building some muscle. I'm not going to say you're building a lot of muscle, but you are building muscle, and you're probably eating more because I think that's the biggest one. Because you are lifting more weights, your body is now demanding more nutrients, more nourishment, because you've beaten up your body. Now it's demanding for you to feed it so that it can properly recover. And the acute effect of you being hungrier, of you eating more, is obviously that you will be gaining weight, or at best you will be maintaining that same weight. But I want to backtrack and emphasize that I did say the acute effect, like the short-term effect of that, is that you will not lose weight. You will either maintain or gain a bit more. Is that necessarily a bad thing? No, that is not, because that is what a lot of people, majority of novice lifters, should anticipate in their initial phase. When I say initial phase, probably like 1 to 2 or maybe even 3 months. That's because in the future, past that 3 month beginner phase, you should expect that visually, despite you being the same weight or possibly even being a bit heavier than your starting weight, you are going to look a lot smaller, which is what you actually want. Of course, it might sound mean, hey, you're just projecting goals on people, but no. Of course, it's nice to have an objective goal. Like, for example, if your starting weight is 150, it's nice to have a goal to be 140 or 135. So that's, lighter than when you started. But the reason why majority of people, if not all people who want fat loss, is not just for the goal of looking at the scale and seeing, oh, wow, I'm lighter. Probably the goal of that person who is after fat loss, aside from health reasons, is the fact that they want to visually appear leaner or visually appear fitter. So it's all about the aesthetic thing. And that's not a bad goal to have. Some people might think, oh, that's just vain, that's just being narcissist. But no, like it's a fair goal to want to look and feel better. And with this day and age, a lot of people do associate feeling and looking better by being leaner. Not necessarily shredded, but being at a healthy and fit body fat percentage range. And that's a fair goal. Like nobody should take away from that goal. Like I think the term that a lot of try-hard woke people would be like, oh, you're being fat phobic, etc. It's not that. It's just they want to look better and they have every right to try to look better in their own image of what better might be. This is a fitness podcast, not a philo or society or like sociological podcast. But yeah, I think that's very, very important to understand. Like if somebody wants to look a certain way and this is their image of looking what better is, as long as it's not detriment to their health, then that's perfectly fine. If somebody wants to be super stick thin to the point that they have no muscle, I think that's when interference or what do you call that? An intervention might come into play. If it's really going to negatively affect that person's health, then that's when we can be a bit more, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that. But if they just want to be leaner, I think that's a great goal to have. So back to that question. Coach, I'm not losing any weight. Does that mean I should stop strength training? Absolutely not. You should continue strength training despite you not losing weight in that initial phase, because down the line, because of how much muscle you will be building and how much strength you will be building, which will definitely positively affect your daily life, like your day-to-day errands, you're going to feel a lot fitter and stronger anyway. You should do that because in the long term, you are visually going to be a lot smaller, leaner, fitter looking. And again, in the long term, if you go check out the weight, like the weighing scale, you are probably going to be a lot lighter down the line. So that's 6 months onwards. So in that initial phase, don't look at the scale or don't be married to what number is going to appear on the scale. Instead, just look at the long term, keep on lifting weights. Don't overeat. I think that's important to mention. But just keep in mind the long term, keep on progressively doing your weight training, your strength training, and you are going to be on your way to achieve your goals. All right. Question number 2. Coach, how can I maintain my breast size but at the same time flatten my stomach? I think the straightforward answer is that is unfortunately not possible, because your genetics will literally be the main the main indicator of how sizable your breasts will be. That's just straight out the truth. You've seen it anywhere, like everywhere, like whether that be in your own experiences in life, whether that be in social media. You see a lot of different women who are different sizes, different heights, different races. Some are more blessed than like some races when it comes to the chest size, whether they be short, tall, thin or big or muscular or whatever. The amount of breast size or like the actual size of their breast is really dependent on their own genetics. Of course, within a certain race, there are some people that are more blessed than others. Again, to use, I think, should I stop saying blessed when it comes to size? I think, let's just say some people are born with naturally bigger breasts than others. Some people might cancel me. Oh, maybe you shouldn't say that. Whatever. But yeah, straightforward answer is that no, it is impossible for you to expect to maintain the same amount of size on your breast when you've gained body fat and at the same time to lose body fat in your stomach. Because I guess one way to answer this question is that there is no such thing as spot reduction, or in other words, there's no way to target where you would want to lose fat on your stomach, or where you'd like to lose fat on your body. Some people say, I just want to lessen my body fat on my stomach, my belly fat. Some people say that, I just want to lose fat on my arms because it's sagging. There's no way to directly train them in a certain way to make it, what do you call this, leaner in just that specific part. Sure, if you want, less saggy arms, great. Do arm training. That's going to make it more muscular, which is going to, increase the muscle size, which is going to make it look a bit firmer. But you might probably still be carrying some body fat in your arms unless you are in a caloric deficit, which is you basically losing fat as a whole and not losing fat just on your stomach or just on your arms. So to answer it once again, there's no way to do that, to lose fat just on your stomach and not on your boobs. That's just the straight out truth. So blame your parents or blame your mom for not giving you the genetics that you wanted. But all right, that's question number 2. Moving on to the final question would be question number 3. Coach, how can I get that hourglass physique? Now, the hourglass obviously kind of wide at the top, narrows down towards the waist of the body, and then as it goes down to the legs, it will be a bit wider. So what does that mean? Or how can you get the hourglass figure? Basically, you have to train your upper body, the upper part of your upper body, have to be having a slim waist, and you also have to be training your hips and your legs so that it becomes wider at the bottom. I would want to say that the building the upper body and building the lower body, like specifically the hips, those require you to really strength train, to really build that muscle, to really build that size and strength in time. And one very necessary thing is for you to eat more, but so that you're in a caloric surplus, so that you can really build muscle on those desired parts. But the second thing, the middle thing, is that you also would want to have a narrow waist. That would require you to lean down, to have to be in a caloric deficit that time around. So how can you achieve all three at the same time? You cannot. So this is a great tie-in to the first question, which is, like lifting weights, has phases in your training. Not one can really be on a consistent phase, or one phase, or one program, one nutritional protocol for the rest of their life and expect steady progress. Every lifter should go throughout different phases in their fitness journey, whether that be a 3-month phase, 6-month phase, or 1-year phase. If you want, phasing your training or making your training into different blocks is really, really important for long-term success. So why am I talking about phasing? Because you will have to be in a caloric surplus phase, or in other words, casually known as a bulk, so you can build muscle on your shoulders, your basically upper body, your shoulders, your upper back, especially to get that V shape. And you also want to be in a caloric surplus to build up your butt, your glutes, and your hamstrings, and your quads. If you are in a caloric surplus, or if you are going to be bulking while targeting those exercises with big compound exercises, like I would say the lat pull down, the cable row, the squat, the deadlift, all of actually just those 4, trust me, with just those 4 exercises, let me add the 5th one, with lateral raises. Again, lat pull down, cable row, squat, deadlift, lateral raises. Do those 5 exercises, you are going to build that hourglass physique. No questions asked. Like without a doubt, if you're in a caloric surplus, you train them properly, those 5 exercises are good staple exercises to go for. Of course, you can go for different variations of those exercises, whatever you want. But as long as you're getting those general movement patterns in, you will build those desired muscle groups. Now, once you've dedicated, let's say 6 to 9 months bulking to build that muscle, those muscle groups, that's when you can start aiming for that second goal, which is to have a narrower waist, or in other words, to be leaner, generally speaking, because there's no such thing as spot reduction. That's when you can start to really unravel or unveil how much muscle you've built. Because once you start to lean down in a very slow and controlled pace, not rushing it in 1 month to just be in a complete caloric deficit, like an extreme one, I mean, you are going to unveil how much muscle that you've actually built in those 9 months. And you're going to be amazed by how much, like when you're shredding, once you're leaning down, you're going to be like, oh, wow, I never had that. I didn't know that my shoulders can be that round, or that my back can be that wide, or my hips can be that firm and pronounced at the same time. That's when you can actually truly achieve that hourglass physique. If you're able to build that muscle in that bulk phase and then go cut or be in a deficit, so that you can really get that narrower waist, and at the same time you will be leaner all throughout. So that's basically me saying that how do you get that hourglass physique? Go in the very staple and traditional sense or training phasing of having a good bulk and then cutting down so that you can unveil all your hard work. All right, I think that's a great episode. Hopefully, to all the women that are viewing this podcast or listening to this, hopefully, I think majority of my viewers are men based on the comment section and the people that message me privately. I feel like there's only been like less than 5 women that have commented or messaged to me. So to all my male viewers right now who know women who are in that situation to be wondering about any of these questions, please do share this video with them. And for you who's watching this right now, hopefully you can like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Or actually, I think if you're on Spotify, please favorite this. I think that really helps with the algorithm. Generally, and if you have further questions on these questions that I've addressed today, please do comment down below. But once again, I just want to recap, just in case somebody forgot already. Question number 1, Coach, I'm not losing any weight. Should I stop lifting weights? No. Continue lifting weights because that's going to help you be visually leaner and actually leaner down the line because we want to think about it in the long term. Second one, Coach, is there a way for me to maintain the size of my breasts but also lose my belly fat as I lean down? Unfortunately, no. That's not something that we can manipulate because there is like something as like spot reduction isn't significant or it doesn't really exist to a significant effect. Then the third one is how to get an hourglass figure. Obviously, you have to build muscle in the desired muscle groups through a bulk. Then once you're ready, once you feel like you've built enough muscle, that's when you can cut down to really, truly get that hourglass physique. All right, that was episode number 28. I hope you guys enjoyed it because I think that was a very, very good episode, especially for all the women who are wondering about those questions. But anyway, I'll see you guys next week for episode 29.